Hello. So today is full moon. It is a full super moon. It was so big last night when it came up already. It was beautiful. And my friend Leanne's birthday is today. So that is a big, big super moon for a birthday. So happy birthday, Leanne. So I have an outline of what we're going over. I actually wrote it down so I don't ramble on endlessly. And then this is what I printed out for myself. And this week this is the introduction to joy. And this week is cultivating gratitude. And I never really look at this until like I sit down and go, oh, what was I supposed to plan this around? So oddly enough, it worked out to gratitude anyways. So the overview is explore the connection between gratitude and joy. Personal insights, research insights. It's basically an outline for how you would present cultivating gratitude. So, daily gratitude exercises and incorporating gratitude into routines. Call to action, prompt listeners to create a gratitude list and share it. So that is kind of the structure that I wanted for this week, but I don't want that fill. I want a little different, same end, but different. Still going to end up with gratitude, but I think more of a somatic feel to what gratitude is, not just a concept of what it might be in our head or that we're grateful for things. This is more going to end on we're grateful to be here, just to be alive, just for my breath. So the first thing I want to talk about is the full moon. And last time, when I did the video on the new moon, which is 2 weeks ago now, that was the week where I saw a cat get hit on the new moon. Rob had that dream about his brother and punched me, and that was about kittens. And when I came back from taking the cat to the vet, right near the cat were two feathers. So I picked up the feathers, and I tend to pick this stuff up, and I'm going to show you these, but I put these two feathers in this book. So I had the book handy. There's one little down feather, and then the other is a regular feather. So I kind of had the intention, and on that video I mentioned it, that I was setting an altar space just to see what comes up. And I usually do that during that first sequence, which is the crescent moon. So that was already 2 weeks ago. So as I've been living out the last 2 weeks, I walk around the block, and these were the feathers that were laying in front of Andy's, a restaurant by us. I think they're, I want to say pelican, pigeon, no, seagulls. But unusual to find them there. Turkey vultures there, yes, but not so much seagulls. So those, anyways, were my next set of feathers. Last week, I was up in Wisconsin with Linda, and we were going for a walk, and I kind of went off into the forest. There was a really cool little trail that kind of just disappeared, and it looked like puffball mushrooms. So I was super excited about this because I like making soup out of them. So I get back there, and this is laying just right across the path. That was it. It was a garbage bag on the ground, but this is what was laying right in the middle of the path. So another feather, and here's Jack. So another feather. So now I'm looking at this, and yes, feathers have symbolism, and I could look all that up, but I haven't looked that up yet. I've just kind of sat with it and thought of feathers or flight or some of the obvious things that come to me as the moon is increasing. So that movement up, just lightly thinking about it. So then last week, it's my phone ringing. Last week, I went to Savers, which is a bookstore near us. And so this book was there. So the Path of the Feather. So I'm interested because it's got a feather on it, the Path of the Feather. Also interested because most stuff that you get at used bookstores don't have all the cool little bits. Like this actually has a layout for setting up the path. So this is the medicine wheel. So it actually has this in it. So usually that stuff is long fallen out of these books. So I look at that and I go to put it back in, and I open the book. Look at this. In the book at Savers is a real live feather, and that also made it. So I don't even know what to think about the feathers, but that's a lot of feathers, right? So now I'm going to kind of look that up, but it's really been in my mind all week, just a coincidence of feathers. So that is my catch up from what happened to the new moon till now. The new moon, you plant seeds, and then you kind of live out the adventure, the synchronicities. What is your life telling you in that second week, which is gibbous, is out there living it, experiencing it, having the experience of your life, not the thought of it, but really living it. That's what this last week has been about, really being involved with our body, being very present with, okay, this is there. Say hello, Jack. Okay, so that's the catch up, okay? Now, I'm going to show you what I do on the moon, and I've been doing this for about a year, is I have a chart that I kind of follow. I've been putting this together because I have not found one that I really like. And so this one I've colored in, I'm sorry, my camera is flipped backwards for some reason, and Jack keeps hitting my hands. So between this, I am challenged on this video. But I'm working on this because it makes the most amount of sense to me. And again, it's backwards, so I'm going. So here, and then coming up to the full moon. But the full moon and the new moon, you plant the seeds here at the new moon, and they culminate up here at the full moon. All of this, of course, is metaphoric, unless you think it isn't metaphoric. But it works great as a cycle because it's so contained and it's rhythmic. So you come back to the same seasons 4 times. So usually on the new moon, I write down my wishes, and on the full moon, I will write down just a regular old notebook. I'll write down what my intentions were. I have Rob's Mike dream, the kitten's black cat. I wrote that down on the new moon, just some stuff that had happened. I put in the dates of the feathers just because it's so unusual to find all those feathers, for me anyways. So now on it's a full moon in Aries, so I've written that down. And then I've written down my intentions. So I usually do this for the full moon. How did I start doing that? Again, it's Savers, or sorry, not Savers. I'm saying his Savers, half price books. Half price books. This book was there, The Power Wish. Keiko, she is Japanese. And this book is all about making wishes, or sorry, using the moon, full and new, to make wishes. This is the book that those feathers were in when I first saw the cats. But I don't necessarily agree or disagree with her and this book. There's also a journal, is it Llewellyn Press puts it out, Moonth. It's a monthly cycle for the whole year of the moon. And that's a beautiful resource too. I think the point is that I'm doing something that is it's a guide. I'm using it as a structure just so that I have a ritual every new moon and every full moon. Oh, if you guys could see Jackie right here, just there you go. The ritual helps me tune in, and it really helps move my focus from the outer world to the inner world. So 2 times a month on the new moon and the full moon, I spend time thinking about the things I want to bring into my life, thinking about some of the things that are leaving my life. That's what it looks like in practicality. It's more time that I would spend if I didn't do it. So whether or not I believe in power wishes for the moon, whether or not I want to prune when it's new moon or plant when it's full moon, those are deeper levels of understanding. At this point, I'm literally using it as a guide. It's overhead, it's huge. I get a kick out of knowing the cycles, and overdoing it for so many years, I'm good at it. So for me, it's an easy way to invest in myself, I guess, and just kind of put it in those categories, a lunar cycle. So that's what my moon practice is. The next thing I want to do is I want to teach you how to do a Somascape. And I'm going to share my screen. I have a blender, which is a type of blending stub art. I'll show you all of these. I have a regular pen, And well, you know what? I'm just going to share my screen and show you all of this. And we share. Okay, and you are seeing my screen. All right. So this is the blender stick that I'm talking about. Just a big old fat blender stick. Usually they come with these. And when you use the graphite too much, that's what this is for. You can also get an emery board. You don't have to have this fancy thing, but you can see how all these black flakes, you're just getting rid of that graphite on here. There is a quick little art lesson in there. But what I have here, I have a card. This is a 5B. So I'm just laying down a lot of graphite, just putting it onto this card. And then I'm going to take my black or my blender. I'm going to dip it in here. This is a 3x5 card, and this is a Somascape. Rubbing this in here, 3x5. I'm just going to kind of do a scan of my body, just see where I'm at. I've got this in my hand, and I'm going to do that. I did a scribble. That's all I did was a scribble. That's what I did up here. That's what I did I did this, yesterday, a scribble. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take any old pen. This is a nice pen. And all I'm going to do is I'm outlining these shapes. So you can see that here, this looks like it goes in. So I'm just taking exactly what I see here. And outlining it. That looks like that goes there. I don't know. I'm just looking into the graphite and it just seems that that connects. So you can see that from a squiggly line, but a thick line. So it gave me an outline. Checking to see if I got all the places. So there. So that's another one. These things are so vastly different. When I looked at this one, it looked like a crow, like there's a skeleton eyes and like an egg or something. But if I turned it this way, so I call these somascapes because to me they are such a reflection of my body and the places where my body is, and it leads me into questions about it. I love the way that shape. And this looks like a needle or a pin. This almost looks like initials. This is a great way just to quickly have these shapes start accruing. So what I'm challenging myself to do now is there one of these shapes that feels like anger? Does one feel like gratitude? Does one feel like, I'm going to stop my share. Does one feel a certain way? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get an emotion so I can see it, because then I can work with it. When I do my artwork, a lot of what happens is I just get my emotions out that way. It's a great way for me to just kind of like express, because I practiced it. My hands kind of do what my head wants. And so there's a pretty clear channel there for me with intention to express what I'm feeling or what I want to project that kind of out through my artwork. But this is another way that happens too, because with the drawings, you can really get, like with this one, it almost looks like a space gun or a spaceship or maybe an ampersand. It's so helpful to take a piece of paper and start writing down what comes to you. You've done that intuitive. I'm not happy with that either. It's just like, I feel like it's flipped my screen. So it's very strange because usually, well, that door is on that side, but I'm pointing, I don't know. It's like messed in my head. Anyway, so if you can do some of these, do some of these, because they will give you a way of journaling that will be visually based. and you're not going to have to be scrambling around for how to do it. You probably could do this with a Q-tip. The idea behind it is to get that graphite built up, not use a pencil, but use something thick. So you actually have a form rather than just a line. Then go back in and outline that. So while you're doing that, your mind's getting involved, your neurology is taking place, your hands are starting to understand what your mind is seeing in a different way. And then get a journal and kind of start journaling what the idea of soul cards came, but you know how those are like colorful things that you cut out and make? This is just a very black and white understanding, maybe of the shape of some of your feelings. And wouldn't it be cool if you could start cataloging and say, well, this feels like joy. Why? What makes that feel joyful? And that would give you a lot of information about gratitude. And the idea that you don't want gratitude just to be, oh, I'm glad for my bed. I'm glad for my husband. I'm glad for my kids. I'm glad for the table. I'm glad for my art class. I'm glad, it's like, yeah, but being grateful, having gratitude is a feeling state that arises out of our deep internal self. And then it's reflected in the world. So as gratitude is born here, it can be reflected. And it's going to come in a reflection. Someone is going to do something, or these little things. I'm grateful for my car. Yes, but this is that deeper level. This is not for the things out there. This is that one gratitude for your breath, for your life, that you're here. That's the gratitude. Everything else is a reflection of that gratitude. So if you can find that in yourself and have that gratefulness for your breath, just for the fact that you're here versus being not here, to be or not to be. There's a good way. But you are here. And in looking at these shapes, you'll start talking, having a dialogue with your unconscious almost. Probably it is your unconscious. But these things that are just on the surface, archetypes are symbols just like this that we've lost the meaning for some. Old Neolithic drawings, things that were etched, things like this. These are symbols that had deep meaning at some point, incredible meaning. Why else would you carve it in stone, right? That's what Carl Jung said. He said, you better know what you're doing if you're carving it in stone. Better make sure it's right. But that's the idea. Get into the gratitude through a symbol, through a sign, you can start recognizing it in a shape like this. It's not a thing. It doesn't really exist. And that'll give you so much reflection. The whole idea of know yourself. This is really a good way into it. So I have done everything on my list. And so today, grateful for the full moon, grateful for there is a monthly time where we can express celebration and gratitude for full harvest, for the culmination of the things that we seeded, ideas, thoughts, attitudes, habits we wanted to implement that we started back in the new moon. This is the force, it affects the tides, the moon affects us. So why not use it? It's right up there. But tonight, especially, beautiful not a blue moon, a beautiful full moon. Enjoy. And I'm going to write down more about my feathers, look into it now, the symbolism of that, and then take that into the dark side of the moon with me and see what that means and what happens, because the month isn't over. There's 2 weeks left now for this feather cycle that I'm starting. So I'm excited to see that. So I will see you in a week, which will be the last quarter. And this whole week is balsamic. And this is really about going deep into that darkness, into yourself. This is where Kali comes through, where she's dancing on the field of demons. But these are all things that have to go. This is, the sunflower has shed all its sunflowers, the dandelion, all those things have gone off. The seeds are safely starting to go down into the ground, but what happens to the dirt? What happens? We're back onto more of the dirt and a collective consciousness rather than just a seed now. It's been all about the seed, but now it's starting to be about ancestors and about what's in the dirt and about what the community holds. So it's a whole different focus this next week of the moon. So I will be talking to you next Tuesday, I think is the last quarter. I didn't look at that, but I'm guessing. Usually Tuesdays, although today's Thursday, but that's full moon. Okay, bye, ciao. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.